Oh, there we go. All right, one-handed, got it. You can see just how gummed up it is. And we are done with the MAP sensor. So super easy to do. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day as always. In today's video, we're going to do a quick little upgrade or replacement maintenance video on the 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee. So it's got a little bit of a hesitation at idle only. It rides and drives smooth as it can be. Everything else seems to be fine. But at idle, it's got a vibration to it and a little bit of hesitation, sluggishness to it. So we had the spark plugs changed. It's a nightmare to change the plugs on these things. So we let the shop do that. They did an induction service to it too, and didn't really seem to help the hesitation and the vibration at low speeds. They mentioned something about engine mounts, and that could definitely be the case for some of the vibration. But in my opinion, not the sluggishness or that hesitation on takeoffs and stuff like that. So I did a little bit of research and whatnot. Seems like some of these sensors, like the MAP sensor, other different types of sensors and stuff on here could be the culprit. So they're relatively inexpensive to swap out. I'm gonna show you just how easy it should be to do that today. I went ahead and bought an intake air temperature sensor. They're right beside each other on this particular model. So I said, well, while I'm in there, might as well just go ahead and knock both of them out. We've got a little over 140,000 miles on the clock on this vehicle, so it's not going to hurt to change these anyway. Maybe we'll get lucky and fix the hesitation on it and that little bit of vibration. The MAP sensor definitely can be the culprit of that if it's gummed up, if it's damaged, if it's bad. I think I got one from Advanced Auto for about 40 bucks or so. So not too terrible for just a quick swap to see if that will solve our problems. So we'll jump right into it and show you what it's all about, where you can find it on this model, and if you're interested in doing something like this yourself to see if it'll solve your problems. But if you're new here, consider subscribing, leave it a thumbs up, drop any comments, questions down below. Try to answer everybody's comments. But let's go ahead and show you what we're up to today and hopefully how easy it is to swap this. So again, we are on our 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 3.6 in it. I've done a few videos on the channel for this particular vehicle if you're interested in it. One of them includes this new heat extractor hood that we put on after a power line incident. But 3.6 liter V6, pretty standard in a lot of these vehicles, but unfortunately they come with a lot of standard problems with these vehicles as well. So I've done all the oil changes myself, keep premium synthetic oil in it. To get to what we're doing today, they're right here by the throttle body on this model. This is a 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee high altitude model, and it's pretty standard to get off. You pop that little cover off. It's a 10mm bolt right here in the front center, so we just got to loosen that up, take that off, and then we'll get this cover taken off. So like I was mentioning, we were having a few other little issues and things, and with the mileage and everything being higher on this, it was about time to do some maintenance anyway. So we had the transmission flushed, spark plugs replaced, and in doing so, pull straight up on this, it'll pop loose, and you can slide that out the way. And there we go. But in doing so, found, you know, what probably a lot of you have run into with all of these plastic parts, plastic valve covers, plastic intake, everything else. These things can warp and crack and cause leaks and everything else, so we had to have new valve covers put on, new gaskets. Luckily, I guess, so far, we have not had the dreaded oil cooler leaking incident from the cracked oil cooler. So this thing has that's the filler tube, oil cooler right down here. So this is where you put your oil filter in. I did a video on that if you need to check that out. I'll leave it linked. But this thing can crack and warp and have all kinds of trouble. So they have an upgraded metal, I think aluminum cooler that you can swap out. Anyway, won't get sidetracked with that. We're still rocking and rolling with the original. But for today, we've got our MAP sensor right here on the front and our intake air temperature sensor right here on the front of our airbox tube. So we should be able to twist this out and pop it straight out, and we should be able to twist this out and take it straight out. Some of the older Jeep models, I think, because the throttle body I think is on the back side or something, it's a little different setup. Your MAP sensor might be back here against the firewall, a little more difficult to get to. It's not impossible, you can do it, but ours is front and center, so we'll be able to take these out You don't have to take the negative battery terminal loose. I'm going to do it for us in our case, just so it'll kind of reset the PCM, start reading fresh from new, and that way it won't have any of that old information in there. So I'll show you how to get to that, and we'll take it loose, but you don't strictly have to do that. You can just unclip these, unplug them, twist them out, twist them back in, plug them back up, and you're good to go. So let's get started with that and see where we're at. All right, so to get to the battery in this particular Jeep model, it is under the passenger seat. So if you slide your passenger seat all the way forward, you can get to this little cover that's over the battery right here. So it's in like so underneath our floor covers, of course, floor mats, and you just pull straight up on this and it will release these catch tabs on the back. You can see we've got one over here, and then two on the front corners. Those are a little bit more difficult. Kind of have to snake your arm up under the front and push up, and then they'll pop loose. Kind of would have been cool if it just slid in and locked in the front. You just pop these two front ones and then slid it out, but whatever. So now we've got our main battery. That's a 10mm nut right here. We'll take loose and protect this, make sure it doesn't touch anything, wrap a cloth around it or something. Then we've got our little auxiliary battery, which is for our wonderful, genius start-stop function in these cars, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, but whatever. So that's your auxiliary battery. If your system goes down or you need a new battery, that's where it is also. And then your main battery, of course, it is snaked up in there pretty good. So probably have to change these before too long. But right now, just going to take this loose, protect it so it doesn't short, ground out on anything. And then we'll go replace our sensors. Here are our two part numbers. Now, please keep in mind that this is for this particular Jeep model. Yours may vary. This is also the Advanced Auto CarQuest equivalent part numbers. So if you go somewhere else, they're probably different too. But you should be able to punch in your make and model, engine, all that good stuff, and get what you need. Here is the factory part number off of your MAP sensor. And then, don't know, probably won't be able to, you might can see, I'll try to put a part number for the stock temperature sensor, intake air temperature sensor as well. But I think this one is already loose. Let's see. No, we might have to push, oh, there we go, push down and out, and then, can't do it with one hand. Maybe I can get it. Oh, there we go. All right, one-handed, got it. And then you're supposed to be able to twist this out past the locking point, wherever that may be. Hang on. Hold on, let's look at the new one and see where the locking point is. Okay, sorry about that. I had to figure out where in the world it released from. So, if you can see much better on the new one here, it's got the two little wings on the side there. They both look even. Doesn't look like one's bigger than the other. So you have to just rotate it about 90 degrees counterclockwise. Probably either way you could do it, honestly. And it pops straight up, straight out. There is the hole. Can't really see too well the clips in there where it's got to go back in, but again, let me show you. So I rotated it to about right there, pulled straight up on it, and it came out. So we're going to put it right back in the same way, rotate it back this way, and plug it back in. That should be job done. Now, if we look at it, you can see just how gummed up it is with, looks like oil residue, blow by, probably back into that intake. And now, is this going to be the whole culprit and the problem? I don't know. Hopefully, maybe we'll get off easy on this one, but it is very, very gummed up and nasty, which some of that could have gone right up in that sensor, fouled it up, or caused it to go bad. We'll find out soon enough, but there's the new one right beside it, and how much obviously cleaner it is. And so maybe we'll get lucky. I'm slightly optimistic, but not that much. But maybe that's what catch cans are for. I put one on my truck to catch all the oil blow by that goes and is fed back into the intake. to keep everything nice and clean. And so maybe I need to invest in an oil catch can for this too. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is that what could cause a lot of that stuff in here to build up like that? And we are done with the MAP sensor. So super easy to do, no problem whatsoever. Popped it straight back in, like I said, on about a 90-degree angle. I took a little bit of a rag here and very, very gently poked it down in the hole to clean out some of that residue. I didn't want to knock a ton of stuff loose and all that, no dirt and dust, any extra crap down there that I could avoid. But did run a rag down there, very gently cleaned it out, and you could see that opening a lot better once that gunk was gone. Popped it straight in, rotated it back, it kind of locks in place all the way back. Put your plug back in, lock it back, good to go. So step one's done. That was super easy. Took care of that. So now this one over here is our intake air temperature. Now, I wanted to tell you right off the bat, don't think this has anything to do whatsoever with the hesitation and whatnot, but since they were both side by side, they've never been changed, and it's a relatively inexpensive part. I think one of them, you'll have to double check me, was like $29. One of them was $49, something like that. So in the grand scheme of things, pretty cheap to change out these two sensors and kind of knock that out, and then we'll go on down the road if it's still doing it. But now we just have to twist this, there you go, counterclockwise. And then once you get it to a certain point, the whole thing, I might have to go a little further. There we go, we got the plug out, and then this will pop straight out too. I don't know if we've got it twisted far enough, but this will come out as well, but it's got a pretty strong gasket on it. So let me grab that with two hands, put the phone down for a second. We'll pull that straight out, and then we'll be able to replace it. All right, so we got our temperature sensor out. It was turned as far as it could turn, just for the record. It's just, it has a pretty tight gasket on there. And so I had to get it with two hands, put the phone down and get it with two hands and pull it straight out. You can see the locking system in there, the grooves that you have to align it with. And then you can see over here, we'll get the old one here, how it's got the pieces, if I can get it to focus, right there on the edge, and then on this edge as well. And then you'll see how it kind of rotates and locks in once you got it in place. And then this little locking tab here has to go all the way past this little piece right here. It's kind of wore off on this one, but it has a little ridge right here that it's got to go by and snap right to there. So, and it's even got a directional arrow to show you twist it that way to lock it in. So not too bad. Here's our new one. Looks identical. It's got a nice new gasket on it, of course, everything. I don't really think there was anything particularly wrong with this. I just think while I was doing it, might as well knock both of them out at the same time and have them both up and running. And since it's got over 140,000 miles, it won't hurt to do a tiny bit of maintenance anyway. So again, we've got to align these little locking things on here, like so. Put it straight in. You got to push it really, really hard and get it started, because otherwise, if you try to twist it, it'll just pop right out. You've really got to push it past that gasket to get it to go in, and then start twisting it, and it'll lock into place. So let me do that, and then we'll be wrapping up. Little tip, this thing with that new gasket and everything, it's really hard to get all the way in there. So I got just a little tiny bit of oil for a lubricant to put on that new O-ring seal, and it'll pop straight in. So don't twist it too hard, or you'll break the little catch tabs off or something in there. Then you'll be in a mess. And so once you put that little bit of lubricant on the O-ring and just push it straight in, it'll click all the way in, and you'll feel it go home. And so then you can turn it pretty easily clockwise again to get it to lock into place. Put your plug back in, lock it in, and you're good to go. So we're done here. We got to put our engine cover back on, put that 10mm bolt back in the hole, and snap that in. Go hook our negative battery cable back up, and we'll be good to try this out and see if it did any good whatsoever. Might have to run it for a couple of miles to get some new information into the PCM, all that good stuff. But we'll see. We'll report back here shortly. Well guys, I popped in a video clip just then so you could see, hopefully you could see what I was talking about with it still vibrating, still shaking. So unfortunately we put a few miles on it. I put some fresh gas in it, some fuel treatment cleaner, all that good stuff, 93 octane, just to try to get everything fresh and running through there real good. Unfortunately, in our case, we still have a vibration to this thing. I don't know if you could see it in the video too well, what's going on there, but just at idle, the thing vibrates. So maybe it is just a motor mount. We've got a little bit of hesitation, sluggishness, so we'll see over the next couple of days, weeks. Maybe these sensors fix that part. Maybe it is down to just some motor mounts to letting that thing vibrate a little bit at idle and causing that vibration that you can feel through the steering wheel and the brakes and everything. What's your thoughts on that? Have you guys run into something similar like this? What'd you try to do to fix it so I can try that next? Regardless, the sensors were super cheap to put in the overall grand scheme of all the stuff and work we've done on this thing, so no big deal there. It was way past time probably to upgrade them anyway at 140,000+ miles, so no loss there. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Showed you just how quick and easy it is to pop these things in. You can do it with no problem. Don't pay a shopper or the dealer to do that. If you think you might have some sort of trouble with one of these sensors, you can pop them in a matter of minutes. You really don't have to go through the battery disconnect if you don't want to. I did it just so maybe it would clear out something that was in the PCM or the ECM, one of those CMs, and hopefully get us back up and running pretty good. So if you have some trouble with one of these, you can test them. You can check engine codes, all that good stuff if you want to be absolutely sure before you spend any money. But in my case, I know with the mileage and everything, just needed to replace them anyway. So hope it helped you out if you needed to find out where they were or how to take them out and replace them. If it did, leave us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. We do stuff like this all the time here, so you're bound to find something else you want to hang out for. We do mods, upgrades, maintenance videos, and we throw in some travel and hobby videos from time to time. I always appreciate you guys hanging out with me. You got any comments, leave them down below. Try to answer everybody's comments. I'll leave the links to everything that we used today. And again, appreciate you being here with us. And I will catch you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.